Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Talking Early Years. Welcome to our live session today with Talking Early Years. We are going to have an interesting conversation today. I'm waiting for a few people to join the live session before we commence. We're going to have a guest, Isi Ofodile. Isi Ofodile is my friend. Interestingly, we met on Hey Aisha. Interestingly, we met on Instagram. What Instagram has done for me this period is amazing. I met some lovely people. Aisha is one of them, and she's the first person to be here. Aisha, hi, is Dubai. Okay, yay, my friend is here. I met some lovely people. Aisha is one of them. Isi is another, and so many other people. And I'm so privileged to meet a lot of lovely people on Instagram. Can you believe that? This is what COVID has done. This is the upside of COVID for me. Like, it has helped me to meet a lot of new people, interesting people on Instagram. So today we're going to have in Lagos, right? It is in Lagos. She's an educator, she's an elocutionist, and she's a trained broadcaster. So we're waiting for Izzy to join in. Hey, Izzy. Oh, good. Yeah, appreciate you greatly. Oh, thank you, Aisha. It's lovely to have you on Talking Early Years.
Thank you.
I was telling
Thank you.
I was telling everyone how we met, and we met on Instagram.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's been a fun experience so far. Okay, hey, welcome Obukio. Aisha, welcome. I'll read back to you. Yay, Amakers. It's Amaka. Yay. I work with Amaka. Oh my gosh, she's another phonics guru. Yes, welcome everyone.
It's always a pleasure to meet the first phonics guru.
Thank you. It's a very good, it's a huge privilege for me to get to meet you. And it's been an exciting journey so far, meeting and talking with you. So today we are going to go straight. We are going to talk about something very interesting, helping your child demystify effective communication. Helping your child demystify effective communication. Chinwelu, I think. Chinwe, welcome. Welcome to Talking Early Years. Thank you, Amaka. So our topic for today is helping your child or aiding your child demystify effective communication. And we have EC here. EC, before we go in, I want you to tell our audience a little bit about yourself, just a little bit about yourself. I know both of us share something in common, like the hair and the soft corn.
Oh my gosh! Absolutely.
Just
I want
tell
to
us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
I am so grateful for you to call me on board, and it has been a wonderful ride so far knowing you. I am an electricianist, and I have been in this business for a while. I've been in banking, I've been in telecommunications, and I decided that, oh, look, people don't know how to speak right. They don't know how to articulate their words correctly. So I said, okay, let me carve a niche for myself here. We don't call it niche. People call it niche. It's niche. So let me have a niche for myself here. And here I am in a nutshell. So I am a firm believer in learning, and there is no end to learning. You can't stop learning. Learning is a lifelong experience for me. So that's me in a nutshell.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, EC. Thank you so much. So we're going to go straight into the discussion for today, helping your child demystify effective communication. How would you describe effective communication?
For me, communication, first is you being able to understand me and I being able to understand you. So for me, effective communication is being able to speak distinctly, clearly, and fluently. Sometimes, even if you don't get it fluently, the most important thing is you being able to speak clearly for every other person to understand you and say the information that you're trying to pass across as clearly as possible. That's effective communication. And the other person who you're passing it across to understands you.
So once you're able to pass information across clearly between one person to the other, so that you understand what the other person is saying and the other person understands you without misunderstanding any bit of that information. So that's what effective
clarity is key, and confidence as well.
Clarity.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, EC. Okay, so we'll go straight to one of our questions. How do children communicate?
Children communicate in diverse ways. Now, some of us are used to kids, some of us aren't. But the key thing is, when you're interacting with children, sometimes they tend to interact with you verbally and non-verbally. And when they're interacting with you verbally, they try to express themselves. Non-verbally, they try to show you what they want you to do for them. They point, they take you by the hand to go and get the thing, or they just keep crying till you try to understand what they're trying to say. And that is the most annoying part of it. So I think the most important part is the child being able to express himself or herself, as if it's verbally or non-verbally. What people call verbal is verbal.
You today you want to come out today,
So verbally and non-verbally, it's the key thing is being able to express yourself verbally. Now, for our topic today, it is the child being able to express him or herself verbally, and which is key in language communication.
Thank you so much. You just said that children communicate in diverse ways. One of the ways is verbally. Is it verbally and non-verbally?
Yes.
Oh my, verbally. So they communicate verbally and non-verbally. Exactly. Yes, so those are the primary ways that they communicate. Some they're using their words and using gestures. So okay. So how does mother tongue affect a child's accent?
Now that's a $1 million question, because a mother tongue affects a child's mode of interaction in various ways. It could be the fact that the child is exposed to someone who is from the same background. Let me take it from this angle. There are native speakers and there are non-native speakers. The native speakers are those who are actually British. They speak the language, is their dialect. We, who are from Africa and other parts of the world that are non-native, are from Russia and so on and so forth, that English is not our first language. We are the non-native speakers. Now, the non-native speakers tend to have their own way of trying to speak their English. And when they're trying to speak their English, they try to articulate their words in the same way the British does it. The mistake we make is, you see somebody goes abroad and spends 2 weeks in Dubai and comes back and say, I've been abroad, this place is so hard, I'm tired, things like that. Not speaking correctly or pronouncing their words correctly at the end of the day. So it is essential that when we are speaking, we are mindful of how we speak. It doesn't mean that we have to emulate the British, but we have to articulate our pronunciation of words correctly. And that's where the sounds actually come to play. And we have things like in Nigeria, we have the H factor, for example. Some of us, we have the H factor. And when somebody wants to say, enjoy, and the person is actually trying to say, enjoy. Somebody wants to say, has an angel. It's like the person is actually trying to say, as an angel, not has an angel. So the person actually added H, has, angel.
Angel.
So at the end of the day, there is the message you're trying to pass across is misinterpreted. So at the end of the day, that mother tongue has infused its way into how we communicate. So it's essential that when we're talking, we communicate in such a way that we articulate our words properly. It starts with trying to do it consciously before it becomes subconscious.
Wow, that's huge. So the mother tongue can influences the way we articulate the English language.
And our
And what you're saying is
sounds.
that, yeah, how and it's linked to the sound. So if there's no way that we can separate ourselves completely from our mother tongue because we are brought up in that environment.
Exactly.
But we can pay conscious attention to the English when it comes to the English language by knowing the sounds and trying to pronounce words using the right sounds. Okay.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Issy. Thank you. Now, what influence do adults have on children's language?
This is this is another question that is very nice and interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because we as adults, we owe it to our children to speak right. First things first. And in terms of interacting with our children, whatever we say is what the children actually imbibe. How we say it is how they imbibe these words. Children are not things that are to be modeled. They are people to be unfolded. So how do we do this? It is how we as individuals or adults interact with our children. How do we interact with our children? In diverse ways. Speaking to them, reading books to them. Even when they when they're on their own and not doing anything, you engage them. Tell me about your day and get them talking. It is essential in the course of interaction because language is the main goal of communication here. Do you understand? Language is the main goal of communication here. I have met a child who tried to express himself or interact, and what the challenge the child had was that he wasn't saying anything between the ages of 1 and 2. And in between, somewhere along the line, the child he paused. He didn't say anything, but he was observing, looking, watching, beating time. And, children are receptive of their environment around that age. And what he did was that when he was ready to talk was when he talked, because he was observing the adults and at the same time receiving whatever information that was being taken in. Let me finish with adults' roles in children communication first. Television is very good, but there is a problem with that. The more you expose your child to watching TV or cartoon, the more the child imbibes the cartoon characters, like we discussed. And in the process of them doing this, they tend to learn more languages or more words and increasing their vocabulary from the cartoon characters that they interact with. But there should be a time limit to it. The more they look at it, the more they imbibe. But our role as adults is for us to strike a balance between these two worlds, the cartoon world and the real world. And that is we as individuals talk to our children, interact with them, and make them understand that you don't have to talk like, now I don't want to go back. Now, like Popeye, for example, okay? You see the cartoon character Popeye, he talks with his nose. Now I don't want to go back. And at the end of the day, what happens? The child tries to emulate that cartoon character because that's the only place the child has been exposed to. So we as individuals, our role is to interact as much as possible with our children and build the vocabulary. Wow. And there is no end to when and how we start reading to them. We can start reading to them and speaking to them from as early as when they're in our womb till when they're older. So it's essential that we understand the concept of this. And we should tell them stories. The more we tell them stories, back in the days, they used to say fables to us. And that was why we thought that the tortoise is the wisest creature on earth. So it is essential that we as individuals and adults interact with our children and aid them in boosting their vocabulary and aid them in enabling them to interact positively.
Wow. Do you know you have just laid out some very key points? Adult interaction is very crucial in improving children's communication and children's language.
Exactly.
When they watch those cartoons, it needs to balance out. They need to know how to differentiate between the cartoon character and and how human beings actually speak. So that adult interaction helps to level out that. And something very important you also mentioned was observation, that some children, because children don't develop at all at the same time. Every child develops at different paces and different rates. Exactly. So you cannot say that every child must start to speak at this age. Exactly. Some children start speaking earlier, some start speaking a bit later. Exactly. But what is important is that when children are young, like you said, they're observing. Mm-hmm. And when they're observing, what they're doing is they're building up their receptive language. They're building up the number of words and the different types of words. Exactly. So you see, they're building up their receptive language. So when the time comes in the line of development, when they are ready to talk, all those words that they've been hearing through stories,
there was a research years back on how children actually interact. And what they said was that children are supposed to be you are supposed to speak a minimum of 350 words to a child a day. And they had to attach a gadget to the child's hand or the children's hand. Mm-hmm. And the more words you say, the more the number grows. The more words you say, the more the number grows. And that means that the child has received a number of words for that day. If the child doesn't meet up with that word, there is a minus and you have to meet up with the words. It's a continuous process. Now, this also brings me, we've just talked about something that also got my attention on children with learning disabilities. Okay, children with learning disabilities also have their own challenges as well. And these children tend to have dyscalculia, dysgraphia, or dyslexia. Dysgraphia is when a child is having difficulties recognizing numbers. Once they just see the numbers, the fear of numbers, the moment they just see numbers, they run back. But that's by the wayside. The key thing is dysgraphia and dyslexia. Dyslexia is when the child is not able to read. And dysgraphia is the fear of not being able to write. So in the process, you see that the children have to be able to do all of this to communicate. So if you are, back in the days, we didn't have teachers that were well equipped to see things like this. This is very personal to me because of that, I would say I was a child that had dysgraphia because once I just see figures, I just go limbo immediately. But once I see numbers, alphabets, I'm good. I'm totally good. So it is essential that we as teachers and adults comprehend the fact that we have a huge role to play in the lives of these children to enable them to grow up to be effective communicators.
Wow. Easy. You're just dropping nuggets and nuggets and nuggets for us right here. Thank you so much.
Because of time.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to go into what are the do's and don'ts, right, of phonics. What are the do's and don'ts of phonics? And how does that affect the way children speak and all?
Okay, the do's and don'ts of phonics. The first thing, let's work with the don'ts. The don'ts is, let me work with teachers. Phonics instructors that go to schools and teach the children to go, roll your tongue when you're speaking. Roll it, because that's the only way they will be able to speak correctly. First things first is the articulation of the phonetic sounds or the phonic sounds. Ah, eh, e, ah, ah. Not even u, which is the u. Because we say ah, eh, e, or u, but it's not e or u, it's e or ah.
Oh my.
So it is essential that we have to teach the children to communicate with the right sound. You can tell them to be rolling their tongues, and at the end of the day, you are confusing the child. That is number one. You see children walking, you walk into a classroom and you're trying to interact with the children. The moment you walk into the classroom, the children stand up and they go, oh my gosh, we are here to because they're trying to roll their tongue. So
do you know that I have that experience as well? Like sometimes when I go to some schools and I walk into a classroom, the children rise up and then they say, "Good morning, madam. We're happy to see you." Something, it just sounds like someone they're singing a song. And once they finish, "We're happy to see you. Hope you had a nice time." Something like that. Once they finish that and you say, maybe talk to a particular child and say, "So how are you?" That whole "we're happy to see you" just disappears. So I'm wondering how, why did it disappear? Is that, yeah. I am fine, thank you. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm fine, thank you.
You haven't actually taught these children how to say sounds. There is a problem. So you don't expect a child to speak like a native speaker or to say it in 2-3 weeks because you told them, roll your tongue, go express the word, or you say it like this, going. And they keep saying going. The moment you walk away, they go.
Going. Where are you going? Oh my God.
And another thing is, when you're done teaching these children, you don't infuse exercises that will enable them practice it when they're interacting amongst themselves in class or when they're outside the house. So outside the classroom. So how do these children do this thing? That is why you get a fine thank you once you finish the
fine thank you.
It ends there because it has gone poof. They have not actually learned. What we
are not internalizing.
Learning is when the child has been able to imbibe what has been taught. And if the child has not imbibed what has been taught, that means that that child has not learned a thing. So you can't put a child through that. So it's consistent. You have to be consistent with what you're doing with the child. Practice in class is essential. Practice outside the class is also very important because children, when they go back home and they try to use they articulate their words properly to their parents, the parents will say, "Shut up there. We are Nigerians. We are Africans. We don't talk like that." And you
Easy, you're cracking me up. Easy, you're cracking me up.
You see the child go back into the shower and what my auntie said, shut up. You can do that in school, you cannot do that here. When I started speaking English, can me born you? Shut up. And that's the end. The child has been shushed and the child's voice has been shushed. So when they go back and they're trying to express what they want to say, and the same parents will come back to school and say, "My children, they don't speak posh English." Why? Meanwhile, they're speaking a English for you. You're trying to express yourself, So it's essential that we encourage our children to speak right. And when you listen to people, you as an adult as well, you shouldn't listen to people when people are telling you, "Oh, you're not speaking properly, that you're supposed to speak Nigerian English. We are not hearing you." You are actually trying to...
We're not hearing you?
We are not hearing you. It's not we are not hearing you. It's we are not hearing you. So you have to speak. You have to speak in such a way that the individuals will hear you. And how do you do this? Parents now go back because of their children, they're trying to articulate their words properly. And that is where there is a problem. Because when they're with their peers and they're speaking, the peers go, oh, shut up. You're annoying me with this your phone. I don't understand. Meanwhile, you're trying to speak correctly for your child. And the key thing is don't listen to them because your influence on your child is key. As we grow older, you've seen children growing up to become exactly like their mom, speaking like their mom, walking like their mom, talking like their mom, and gesticulating like their mom, just because they look up to their mom. There have been cases like that. So it is essential that we comprehend the essence of our role as key players in aiding our children to speak right. That is another don't. Now let's go to the do's, okay? Remember I talked about children looking up to us. So there is a saying by the former First Lady of the United States of America. She said, children are likely to live up to what you believe of them. So if you believe that these children can make it, they will make it. If you feel that these children can't speak properly, oh my gosh, it's gone. So I taught a kid once, and the kid was in school with his peers. He was speaking diction, proper English, and the kid was speaking, and the peers were
Uh-oh. There's an interruption with that. I hope she comes back in a few seconds. Maybe a call came through to her phone. And that conversation was really getting interesting. Oh my goodness. Wow. EC, you've dropped a lot of nuggets here, a lot of examples. Number one, please don't force, you know. Yo, it's like she left 1 minute. Let's see if we can bring her back in. Network. All right. So she talked about so many things. Don't cause the children to be rolling their tongues. Let them learn the sounds. Once they learn the sounds, then they are able to use those sounds properly. Once they learn the letter sounds, they can blend those sounds and give you the right pronunciation of the words. Also, that children in the early years, young children who haven't started speaking yet, shouldn't be a problem at some point, like because they may be observing and picking up the language of the environment. She also said that we should encourage children by reading to them, reading stories to them. Okay, she's coming back in and interacting with them. So, can you flip your camera back so we can see your face? We're seeing the other part. Uh-oh, you got knocked out there for a few seconds.
Yes, I noticed. So
Okay.
basically, I think I stopped at where the lady of the former lady of the United States was talking. Yeah. So his peers were laughing at him, and in the process, what he did was that he recoiled into his shell and he couldn't express himself. So I asked him, "Oh, come, why are you not? Are you using the dictionary in school?" He said, "No. When I use it in school, my classmates they laugh at me." I said, "Why?" He said, "No, they said I don't speak good English." So that means there is something wrong with the way the teacher in that class speaks, or the children in the class speaks, and the teacher is not well groomed in phonics. So if the child is speaking correctly, she should have told them, yes, this child is speaking correctly. You see, everything is entwined. What's it called? Teachers interacting with students, adults role in early years education, or interacting with children, and ensuring protective communication, and we as individuals doing our own part, and the children also being aware of what they're supposed to say. So it's essential. And today, guess what? His peers today don't have a YouTube channel. He does have a YouTube channel, and he speaks eloquently when he talks, and he uses his diction correctly. When I see the boy, I'm so proud of him, honestly speaking. And it's a work in progress. Like I said, you don't expect a child to learn proper pronunciation in 2 weeks, in 3 months. Is a continuous thing. It is not something, it's a lifelong experience. So it's essential that they do this. Another thing is that you don't totally have to change the child's accent, because our accent is who we are as non-native speakers. I remember one of my bosses who tried to get a job in BBC. He tried to get a job in BBC, and he was turned down because he did not. What happened now again?
He did not what? I didn't get that.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. He did not do what?
Okay, he did not, because he did not speak with his mother tongue. There was no infusion of his mother tongue in his diction. Okay, I don't talk like a British lady. I talk like a Nigerian girl who actually understands the articulation of English words. And that is the difference. That is the difference between you speaking fluently in your with your mother tongue still infused in your speaking. And there are some people that say, oh, they want to speak like Americans, and they fine-tune it. One word you wouldn't hear from them. Or
You don't hear, you won't understand anything.
You won't comprehend it because they are not articulating the sounds correctly. Okay? So another thing is when you say the sounds incorrectly, let's go to the do's now. When you say the words, there is a misinterpretation of words. For example, we say, I'm a teacher, let's say I teach early years, and I walk into the class and I tell them, oh, this sound is s, the other sound is oo, and the other sound is o. Have I articulated the sound correctly?
No.
Exactly. They come back and they say things like, this sound is oo, this sound is o. It's supposed to be o. You can't say o because that sound hasn't been articulated properly for that child. And if you're saying the word a, you're not supposed to say a. You're supposed to say a. It's like you're going down and you're going up. Okay? You're ascending. A. And you hit a balance in between. So that is essential in your way of pronouncing your words. It's essential because when you're saying the word, the child will understand you. Go and get the pot. Pot. We say, go get the pot. Put the pot on the fire. Put the pot on the fire. You're supposed to say something like, put the pot on the stove or on the gas cooker. So it is essential that we comprehend all these essence in pronunciation and talking. And getting our ideas across. So if you teach
and clearly.
If you're telling a child pot, the child will not understand that you're saying, no, sorry, if you're telling the child port, you're actually saying a seaport for the child. Instead of you to say the pot on the fire. Okay? If you're saying the word, for example, he slipped and fell. Slipped and fell. And the person says, oh, is this sleep or slip? There's a difference. Slip, you actually glided and you fell. But sleep is when you go to bed. So there are two different things entirely. It's all about articulation of the word. We say we are buying fish. Fish. Is it fish or fish? Fish. But you can't go to a market woman and say, oh, madam, I want to buy fish.
Sorry, it will not work.
Your price
Rest.
there,
Instead of
it
rest,
will, in fact, if it was 5 naira, it will catapult to
they
one
will give
thousand
it
naira
back.
immediately.
Or she will say, I beg you, not there yet. They for that shop over there.
Exactly. So all these are things that are very important. Then we also have a situation whereby teachers do not apply, okay? They do not apply what they have learned in the course of interacting with the children. And maybe a teacher's vocabulary is not properly pronounced in the context of the child's teacher saying the word lunch. Go and bring your lunch bag. That's the correct way to say it. But the teacher, a typical Nigerian teacher, will say, go and bring your lunch bag. So all these are part of the don'ts. You don't do this in phonetics or phonics. You have to articulate it properly so that whatever information you're trying to pass across is correct. There's a difference between lunch and there's a difference between lunch. Lunch is the food we eat. Launch is when there is something going into the air, like a rocket being launched into space. So there are two different things. Let me go to our mother's vocabulary. Okay? Our mother's vocabulary, for example, goes like, oh, this will make you laugh. I am cooking in the kitchen. I am cooking in the kitchen. It's supposed to be, I am cooking in the kitchen. And I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. So these are things that they should take into cognizance. Oh, children will also say something like, he's finding my trouble. He's finding my trouble. It's not trouble, but trouble. And at the same time, it's supposed to be not finding my trouble, but he is pecking on me. Pecking. He's pecking on me. That's the key thing we need to comprehend in this context. Okay? So, why do we do all this? For us to achieve all of these things, the do's and the don'ts, to be able to articulate our words properly to our children and our peers, whoever is around us, and for them to understand us properly, and in turn communicate their words properly to their peers, I'm talking about the children now, is essential that we get trained in articulating our words. And how do we get trained in articulating our words? This is by knowing the sounds. The sounds is amazing. Oh, thank you. Somebody said this is a master.
This is a master class.
Thank you,
Aisha. Thank you, Aisha.
So it's essential that we comprehend this, and we know that it's very important. Your sound is key when you're saying a word, when you're trying to pass a message across. It is essential because the children are watching you. They're picking your vibes. They're learning from you by the minute. And another way for us to aid, I'm going to give you like a quick nugget on what not to do or the things to aid kids to improve their English skills. So we have them say the words correctly. Saying the words correctly is essential. Okay? If they mispronounce the words, how do you do this? You tell them as a matter of fact. Don't scold them. Don't be upset with them. Just tell them and keep going. Okay, yes. Just it can be, oh, how was your day today? Oh, and the child is talking, and maybe the child says something like, oh, I think I will go home. No. I not I think. You say I think. Use your TH, my dear. You have to say it lovingly, and that will make the child, imbibe it more and faster. Okay? Have them sound out the letter words. The letter words are very important. Why is it important? Because take note that the letters are different from the sounds. The sounds are phonics. We pronounce the sounds. It's essential. A, B, K, D, E, F. But in letters is alphabet. And we know the letters by their names. Letter name A, B, C, D. In between, you get to comprehend that the sound is essential. And that is what will aid them to spell, to pronounce, and at the same time improve their vocabulary. Because when they see a word that they cannot pronounce, all they just have to do is to articulate the sound and join them together. Okay, I had a boy who was about 5 years old. He couldn't read, and he was in grade 1, and he couldn't read, and the mother was hopeless. She didn't know what to do with the boy, and she called on me and said, I don't know. She called on me and said, okay, can you do something about this boy? And I said, okay, let's talk to the boy. And I got a feel of the boy, listened to him, tried to get his vibe, and I discovered that this boy really wants to learn, but he didn't know how to learn it. He didn't know the sound.
What? Say that again.
The boy wanted to learn it, but he didn't know how to say the words. He didn't know how to pronounce the sounds. He didn't know it. So if he's able to pronounce a word, if he's able to get one, he's panting. Because probably when he gets one and he didn't get the other one, the mother will give him a tap on the head. Do you get? I don't want to call it knock. A tap on the head.
A tap on the head.
A tap on the head. Before they say, oh, that's child abuse. So this is a part of the things that they need to know. It's essential. So we have helping them to also break larger words into smaller chunks, into little words. And that's why we have syllables. They should be introduced to syllables as early as possible. They should know the one syllable, syllabic word, two syllabic word. And as they grow older, you know, when you learn, you reinforce,
yeah,
reinforcing. It's essential. Exactly. And we also have educational videos, what they call educational videos. It's educational. So educational videos. So we have educational videos which also aids us to comprehend the children to comprehend the sounds properly. And in the process of them doing this, they tend to know the sounds. But again, like I said about the cartoon videos, it's essential that the adults strikes a balance so that the children can say their words properly and articulate their words clearly. And also, we should also do this, introduce them to sight words. Sight words are also called tricky words. The tricky words are words that we pronounce in phonics via rote learning, because there is no other way the children can actually imbibe it. You can't use the pronunciation or phonemic awareness to actually pronounce these words. Okay, so it's essential that it is done like this for the children. But there is an exception for children with special needs. Yes, for children with special needs, that is the way they will learn. They will learn the sounds via rote learning. Try to
and sometimes for tricky words, there are some that you may not be able to blend using the sounds. But once you know the sound, that's some towards the end of the tricky word that you can apply sound. That's something.
Exactly. So that's tricky words. Tricky words, you don't use the sound. For example, words like many. If you want to pronounce that word, it's actually many, as in M-A-N-Y or man-y or something like that. But the key thing is, because it's a tricky word, you have to say it as me with the e. And we also have things like we would have pronounced as we if we're going with the phonemic pronunciation. Exactly. And these are things that we need to take into cognizance and comprehend the essence of the sound. And it will aid us to, go higher with teaching the children how to pronounce these words. You should use sight words, use stories as much as possible. And that's why in Jolly Phonics, we use stories, which is a multisensory approach to teaching. We use phonics, we use sounds, we use the flashcards, we have the actions, and in some cases, we have the song, and in some cases, we have to do role play. And in the course of role play, we tend to teach these children how to comprehend the sound. What I do when I'm in a class like that, I tend to use the names of the kids. And if they don't answer me properly, I'll tell them I won't use your name the next time. And you see children say, no, no, my name, you know, and they want to be in that story. And that's the easiest way for them to imbibe what is being taught. I don't go saying other people's name. I say the names of the people in class so that they can actually relate
So they
to it.
personalize it.
Exactly, so that they can relate with it. So, and finally, your child should have vocabulary of about 2,000 words to 2,500 words minimum by the age of 5. So that will aid them in building on what they already have. Yes. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. Masterclass from EC.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. They're giving us real strong points, EC.
Thank you.
There's a lot to learn. Now, if you know the sound, you should know how to pronounce pronounce the sound the right way. Because if you don't pronounce the sound the right way, then you form the wrong word.
Exactly.
Right?
And you're passing
That's
the wrong information. Something like mother. Okay? Oh, my mother is okay, I'm even using the correct pronunciation. In Nigerian English, we say, oh, my mother is here. My mother. With the D instead of the. So, in actual fact, it comes out as mother. Mother. Then we want to say, oh, the man killed somebody. Oh, the man murdered that man. In other words, we are actually saying the same thing, murder at the same time, and that means we are saying the same thing in different contexts. So how do you tell the difference that it is murder or mother? You have to be able to say the sounds. The sound is like a demigod in phonics and phonetics. You have
like
to
the
know.
center of it, like the core of it.
Sorry?
Like the core of it.
Yes,
it's like the core of it.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's essential.
And the good thing is that every child can learn, right?
Exactly. They can learn.
Every child can learn.
They can learn from what they say, what they do, in diverse ways. Visually, playing, walking, they receive information from their environment 24/7. And the key thing is the people that they love the most are the people that they actually imbibe words from. It's not even from the people outside. And in most cases, who actually plays these roles? Their parents or the adults they're used to in the house, or the teachers in school, which is a key factor in effective communication for children.
The environment is key.
It's essential.
Wherever your child finds themselves, they pick up every single thing.
Exactly.
So mine, that's fantastic. Are there other ways? Are there other ways that we can aid children? Are there other maybe hanging ways we want to drop before we wrap up?
Other ways we can actually aid our children, like I said, it's essential that we read to our kids. Bedtime stories. Bedtime stories is essential, it's important, and it will aid everybody in comprehending the fact that they also have to work on themselves, because if you do not do this, your child will not pick up what they're supposed to do. There is something that was spoken by Diane Sri. She said that children learn they have to learn their grammatical competence. Now, for them to attain grammatical competence, these includes the learner's ability to spell, to pronounce their words, to have good word formation skills, and at the same time, grammar structure. The grammar structure comes in place when they're a bit older, maybe when they're from 7 and above. But the key thing is you have to reinforce what they've already learned as they grow older. The key thing here is the spelling, the pronunciation, the vocabulary. They can even know it first without knowing to spell it. That's why you see some people can actually talk for Africa, but they can't actually write. I don't want to call the musician's name, but there is a musician
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. She got disconnected. Okay, she's back. Okay, flip it. Yeah, all right.
Yes, there is a musician who can't write, but he can sing for the world. He can talk for the world. And that is the essence of speaking right. You have to speak right to communicate whatever ideas you have. Poetic, musician, whatever way. It starts from the scratch to the top. What we say, how we say it, affects the children, affects the way they communicate, and affects the way they interact amongst themselves. And it comes back as a feed to us. So our children, the way they communicate is a reflection of who we are.
Wow. Big hug from me to you. Virtual hug.
Thank you.
Virtual hug from me to you, Issy.
Same here.
Wow. Thank you so much. Issy, you're talking about the free Zoom training for anyone who is interested. Can you tell us about that?
Oh, the free Zoom training is going to happen very soon. Please watch out on Talking Early Years, and my page is coming live, and we are going to talk about what are these skills. How do you articulate these skills? How do you know the skill to use to articulate your words? In combination with phonics and phonetics, I will teach you how to say these words in such a way that you will never make a mistake when you're saying the words again. Not like the children that will say the words and go back to their mother tongue. But the key thing is they say the words, you say the words, and I will teach you how to retain it. So the free Zoom class is for parents, for moms, for dads who are interested, and for early years teachers and all the teachers who are in higher classes and they want to actually boost their way of speaking. Is a plus for you, because the way you speak is a reflection of who you are. So when you speak, some people want to turn and look, who said that? But some people will speak and some people will go, who said that? For the ones who said there's somebody currently in a reality show. I don't want to call the name. And the person, I'm not calling the name. The person's what actually got my attention with that person, what he would say is, I saw the bed on the air. On the air. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. So you see that there is a flaw in his construction, semantically, vocabulary, and this is a foundation problem. He can express himself, but is he expressing himself the correct way? Okay? You can't see a bird in the air. Sorry, I'm even using on the air. And the way he said it, the others kept on saying, on the air, and they said, yes, on the air. But I had a good laugh with that. So it's essential that we work on this from the get-go. It's not only about the children, but it's also about the adult who is interacting with the child. Thank you.
Guys, you need to take advantage of this free Zoom class. It's going to be a hot master class, almost like this or even better for everyone, parents, educators, anyone, whether you're teaching in the early years or just if you just want to improve yourself as an individual. This free Zoom class is for you. Please, if you're watching this now, you can forward this, you can share this video with someone who may need it. All right, so that they know that a free Zoom class is going to happen soon. And we're going to share that information on Talking Early Years and on Diction 364. Mrs. handle is Diction 364, so you can follow her as well there. So please watch our pages and also share this video to someone who you think will Ah, someone is saying they can't wait. Okay, that's good.
Thank you.
Parents, this is exactly parents. It's a free class, so you can share this video with your school, your child's school teacher.
Exactly.
Parents, if you know that
It's a free
your child,
class. You have
yes,
nothing to
if you
lose.
know that your child's teacher doesn't pronounce the teachers don't pronounce their words correctly, just share the video to them.
If I may
Let
add,
them
there's somebody
know.
who, there's this lady who took her child to a particular school, not calling the name of the school, and usually the driver is the one that actually drops the child in school. And one day she decided, okay, let me just go to the school and see my child or pick up my child. And when she got there, behold, the teacher that spoke to her couldn't even pronounce certain words correctly. She was shocked, and this is supposed to be a highbrow school. And she said, no, 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 no. She looked at another teacher, and the teacher said the same thing. That means that the caliber of teacher they had in the school cannot actually measure up to what they're paying. And guess what she did? She pulled her child out of the school. Capiche?
Oh my.
As simple as that.
Oh my.
Exactly.
Oh my.
So it's essential that we as educators know how to say certain things and say it right. And because I wouldn't want my child to come back home and speak bad English to me. In fact, I will call you to order in seconds. In seconds. No. Oh, this is the word. This is the word. This is the word. Okay? Or, oh, you come back and say, oh, I want to tell you something. I have a little girl who always tells me, I want to tell you something. I'll say, it's something.
So much, oh my God. But children, once they come and say something, a wrong word, they pronounce it wrongly, we just immediately say the correct
Say
one.
the correct
And
word.
what you observe is that when they say the wrong word and you say the correct word, they immediately pick the correct word.
And they repeat
And what you can
it.
do, yeah, and repeat it. Yeah, what you can do to reinforce that is ask them to say it again, say it again, say it again until it gets
Exactly.
So there's a strategy for it. There's a strategy for it. Oh my goodness, our time is running out. Guys, everyone, please share this video to your school, the teachers in your child's school. Share it with a family member who may need this. It's a free Zoom class for everyone, and we're going to post the details on Talking Early Years and also on Diction 360 Hub very soon. So thank you.
And thank you for having me, and thank you everyone for joining me. It's been a privilege to, impact knowledge. It's a blessing. Thank you.
Thank you, Izzy. Thank you. I appreciate this.
Thank you.
Enjoy your day.
Bye.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. We had a lovely session there. Izzy is an elocutionist, and she's offering to do a free Zoom class for anyone who wants to improve the way they speak. It's for everyone. It's free. Once you know that a family member needs this, a teacher needs this, a friend needs this, a colleague needs this, all you need to do is share this video to the person's Instagram so people take advantage. Hey, look at my friend. How do I put it? Oh, my friend is there. Page you here. Keju, why are you coming late now? You are coming late. Okay. We're almost wrapping up, but it's all fine. So thank you everyone who has joined us. Keep watching Talking Early Years for more information on early childhood education and how to improve a lot of things for young children and teachers as well. Thank you everyone for being here. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you joining us every day. Thank you and enjoy your day. Bye.